In the rugged hills of Greece, where myth and history often blur into one another, archaeologists have stumbled upon a discovery so unusual that it challenges the very boundaries between legend and reality. Deep beneath layers of soil and stone, a skeleton has been unearthed that appears to be half human, half horse, eerily reminiscent of the centaurs of ancient Greek mythology. The find, revealed in fragments at first, quickly shocked the excavation team as the bones were carefully brushed free from centuries of dust. What began as what looked like a normal human skeleton took a startling turn when vertebrae seemed to merge seamlessly into the ribcage of an equine body. No visible sign of tampering, no crude attachment, just a fusion that left even the most seasoned osteologists speechless. Was this an elaborate hoax crafted in antiquity, a ritualistic creation designed to echo myth, or something even more extraordinary? One thing is certain: this discovery has thrown both archaeologists and historians into a storm of debate, and it may force us to rethink how much of mythology is truly myth. The discovery and its context. To grasp the magnitude of this find, one must return to the world of Greek mythology. Centaurs, half human, half horse beings, appear throughout Hellenic legends. They were often depicted as wild and untamed, embodying the conflict between civilization and primal instinct. Some, like Chiron, were wise teachers and healers, while others symbolized drunkenness, lust, and chaos. The very origin of the centaur myth has puzzled scholars for centuries. Some believe it arose when early Greeks first encountered horse riders, mistaking man and beast as a single entity. Others suggest the creatures represented deeper allegories about human nature. But always, they were confined to the realm of story until now. The skeleton was found in a remote excavation site in Thessaly, a region long associated with centaur legends. According to ancient Greek poets, this was the homeland of the Lapiths and the centaurs themselves. The site, believed to be a forgotten burial ground dating back nearly 2,000 years, has already produced pottery, bronze tools, and fragments of wall paintings. Yet nothing prepared the team for what they would uncover next. The unearthing began with a ribcage. At first glance, it seemed like the remains of a horse buried centuries ago. But as more soil was removed, archaeologists noticed the unusual presence of a human torso rising where the horse's neck should have begun. A skull, unmistakably human, was uncovered, its jaw still partially intact. The bones were not crudely placed together as one might expect from a ritualistic fusion or hoax. Instead, they appeared continuous, as though nature itself had woven human and equine anatomy into one seamless frame. Scientific examination. The remains are now undergoing intense examination. Osteologists, forensic anthropologists, and genetic specialists have been called in from universities across Europe. Preliminary radiocarbon dating places the burial somewhere between the 2nd and 4th century CE. CT scans and X-rays show bone density that seems consistent throughout the skeleton, with no immediate signs of modern tampering. However, scientists remain cautious. They note that soil compression, fossilization, or even ancient burial practices could account for some anomalies. Others suggest it could be a carefully constructed funerary art piece, meant to mimic mythological forms and offering to the gods, or a symbolic burial of two beings, merged in ritual. Yet, genetic tests may soon provide clearer answers. If the DNA reveals both human and equine markers in a single skeleton, the implications would be staggering, not only rewriting human history, but also challenging our understanding of biology itself. What does it all mean? Historians caution against leaping too quickly into the realm of fantasy. Ancient Greece was a civilization where myth and religion intertwined with daily life. Temples, festivals, and burial practices often included symbolic gestures meant to honor the gods. A hybrid skeleton could have been constructed deliberately as a ritual act, perhaps to represent a mythological guardian or to honor the stories of Chiron and his kin. But skeptics face a troubling problem: the precision. The skeleton does not look like two bodies crudely buried together. The alignment of vertebrae, the seamless transition from human to horse structure, and the intact ribcage all point to something more complex. Could ancient artisans, with no modern tools, have crafted such a convincing anatomical fusion? Even if proven a hoax, this raises questions about the lengths ancient people may have gone to create convincing representations of mythology. And if it is real, it forces us to confront just how much of our past remains unknown. One camp argues that the skeleton shows evidence of deliberate construction, pointing to the precise fit of the bones and the lack of any signs of decay or disturbance. Proponents suggest this could be a rare example of ancient funerary art that successfully merged human and animal forms, reflecting the Greek fascination with centaurs. Conversely, skeptics highlight the ambiguities of the find. They argue that without hard evidence of tampering, it's impossible to rule out natural causes. The position of the bones could have been distorted over centuries due to soil shifts, erosion, or even the weight of overlying burials. Some also question the methods of dating, suggesting that further analysis is needed to establish a precise timeline. Was it ritual, symbol, or reality? If proven genuine, this discovery could provide one of the most astonishing validations of mythology ever recorded. Across cultures, myths often describe hybrids, Egyptian gods with animal heads, Mesopotamian creatures with wings, Hindu deities with multiple forms. Skeptics long argued these were mere symbolic inventions, reflections of human imagination. But what if, in some distant past, experimental practices or genetic mutations gave rise to beings that inspired myths? Could ancient people have preserved such occurrences in legend, handing them down until they became stories of gods and monsters? This skeleton raises the question, are myths echoes of lost realities? The broader implications. The discovery also touches on themes of ancient experimentation. There are scattered records from across the ancient world that hint at unusual practices, alchemical texts, strange surgical instruments, and even depictions of hybrid beings in art. Could this skeleton be evidence of an attempt, long forgotten, to manipulate nature? If so, what drove it? Was it a religious ritual designed to embody divine power? Or was it an early form of biological curiosity, an experiment by ancient healers and philosophers who sought to merge the strength of the horse with the intellect of man? Skepticism and caution. Not all are convinced. Some archaeologists warn that this may be a case of misinterpretation. The possibility remains that to skeletons a human and a horse shifted over centuries of burial, giving the illusion of fusion. Soil pressure, floods, or earthquakes could have distorted their positions. Others caution that human desire for mystery often clouds judgment. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Until DNA analysis is complete and peer-reviewed studies are published, the centaur skeleton remains a tantalizing possibility rather than a proven fact. Rewriting history? Regardless of what the final verdict reveals, the discovery is already making waves. If proven authentic, it could force a dramatic reevaluation of Greek mythology, suggesting that legends may hold kernels of truth about forgotten chapters of human history. If proven a ritual construction, it still tells us something profound about how seriously ancient people took their myths, embodying them not only in art and story, but even in burial practices. For now, the world waits as scientists continue their work. Each test result could bring us closer to unraveling the mystery. Is this skeleton proof that centaurs once walked the earth, or simply an ingenious relic of human imagination? Conclusion: the skeleton unearthed in Greece has opened a door between myth and history, fact and fantasy. It challenges us to rethink the relationship between legend and reality. For centuries, myths of centaurs galloped across the imagination of humankind. Now, lying in the earth of Thessaly is a skeleton that could bring those legends thundering into history. One thing is undeniable: the discovery will not be forgotten. It will inspire scholars, storytellers, and dreamers alike, reminding us that the line between what we believe and what truly was is far thinner than we imagine. Thank you for watching. See you next time.